Today's a very exciting day. Recently I got in the new Seicane Android head unit for the Subaru WRX, the 2015 Plus WRX. This is a 9-inch head unit. It replaces the entire center console. In today's video we're going to be doing an unboxing. I'm going to install it and do kind of like a brief review as I turn it on and the first initial thoughts. So right off the bat, it is really well packaged. There's a thick piece of foam that's keeping it protected, and you can see the head unit inside. It's also plastic, and you can see that it's quite a big head unit. I'm just going to pull it out carefully. I'm going to pull it out as a unit. Something happen. Pull it out. So the head unit's out. Got all the hardware, the mounting brackets. So all the hardware is in one piece, the mounting brackets in one piece, hardware, put that off to the side, and we have the head unit. I'm going to take it out. Don't think it comes with anything else. You also get company warranty cards, a letter from the company, warranty card, and the user manual. I don't think this actually has the instructions. I do not think it has the instructions, just looking through. It has a little bit of instructions. It shows you where wires should go, but it's mainly the user manual for the head unit because the head unit has so much capability. Okay, so this is the head unit. As you can see, it has a huge upgrade. The screen is going to take in place the entire head unit before. It's a full assembly, so the HVAC is going to come through here. You're going to have the HVAC controls. The control unit is going to bolt up to here, and we're going to pop in all the corresponding pieces. This is where the 2015 might have a little bit of issue. These are set for the 2016 and Plus, but people are saying that they'll fit, so we're going to try it out. So we have the mic and the USB right here. We have the GPS control here. We're going to probably mount that inside and behind the head unit. Then we have our auxiliary. I'm pretty sure it comes with for all the models, so whether it's a Subaru, a Hyundai. And then yeah, so we're going to go down to the car, take out the stock head unit. I'll show you how to do that, and we're going to get this all installed. Alright guys, this video is a little bit from the future. We have it installed already. Don't forget to keep looking through this video, but I did want to mention that I'm going to have a link in the description below so that you can actually find this unit. If you want to use that link to purchase a new unit, it really does help out the channel, and you should be getting a small discount. I don't remember what it is. It's a couple % off, and yeah, it really does help the channel out. So thanks, guys. So the tools we're going to need to remove the radio are going to be your basic pry tools and a flat or Phillips head screwdriver. You want something with a little bit of a shorter stature so that you have room to get in. This may actually be too long. We're going to find out during this install. But your basic set of pry tools are going to work. I have 2 shorts and 1 long. This is probably the hardest part of the install because you don't want to break the shroud of the original console and head unit. Alright, so I'm going to use a pry tool like this. I like the pry tools that have the 90-degree edges so you can pry under and pull out. This is a really good tool. You're also going to want a larger one for from the top once you start getting the clips undone. We've already undone the top clips, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the pry tool, go under, and pull up, and you're going to start in this corner, get it up a little bit, and then go down through as you go. Now it's going to feel like you're going to break this. You're really going to be scared. I mean, we spent a nice 20 minutes doing this because we were so nervous that we were going to break one of the corners, but if you just keep getting on with the pry tool, it'll eventually come up. Now once you get all those clips undone up top, you're not done. You're going to want to take the pry tool and feed it down the side until it pries up on the side. You're going to feel a click, right? And you're going to go to the other side and you're going to pry and pull up. And then you're going to see it separate right at the head unit. When it separates at the head unit, that's when you know that you can start pulling it out. So we're going to slowly pull like this and remove, right? So we've gotten to the point where it's separated like that. All right, so the next step is you've got the hazard control and the front screen control. So you're going to want to position yourself in an awkward position so you can see back here, but there's a little tab on the connection point for both of these. You're just going to reach back and push that tab in, and it should pull out. So I've disconnected it. You can see the little white thing here. So I've disconnected the hazard control. Now I'm going to reach down and disconnect the enter control. You're going to unclip the last tab. So you're going to have both tabs right here. As you can see, they're covered in a protective material, kind of a foam. And then you're disconnected up there. So you're going to pull it down a little bit further, like this. And you're going to see a similar tab right here for the HVAC controls. And you're just going to undo that tab and pull. So took a little bit of force to get that one done. Once you have the HVAC controls done, you can take off the head unit. All right, so once you have the center console piece out, you're going to pop these tabs out. So I'm just going to go behind and I'm going to apply a little pressure and push, and it's going to push it out. So I've got the enter right here. I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to push out the hazards as well. And you got to apply a moderate amount of pressure. So to get the hazard light out, you're going to take a screwdriver, push down one of the tabs on the side, get the other tab with your finger, and then it's going to pop out. I had already pushed them out. And then you have your hazard light. So the next step is going to be detaching the actual vents. We have 2 tabs up top and we have 2 tabs on the bottom, and that's for both of these. So we're going to pop these units out, and then we're also going to remove the HVAC, and this is just 4 bolts, so we're going to do that, and it's 2 tabs. Okay, so you're going to want to take your pry tools and pry up these tabs right here. You need to be very careful because it's going to be really easy to break these tabs. These are the tabs everybody breaks during this install. They are very hard to pry up and get this unit out. So you're going to pry both up and peel here and push the HVAC circular controls in. So once you do that, this is going to just pull out, and then you have your HVAC unit. This is just going to plug into the new unit. So we're going to put this aside. And then the last thing we have to do is take these out. We're going to have 2 tabs. They're similar. So we're going to take our pry tool, and we're going to take our good pry tool. We're going to pry up. To make it easier to get these vents out, we're going to detach the bottom piece by removing these 2 Phillips head screws. So we're going to do that to detach this so it's easier to get them out. And yeah, those 2 screws will allow them to unbolt. Super easy. And we can remove this piece, and it's easier to get these pieces out. All right, so when you're taking these vents out, it's really easy to break these clips. Again, the hardest part of this install is getting the head unit out. What you're going to want to do is lift the clip up and then push this piece away from it. You don't want to pull this out. You want to push this piece away. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. And then, yeah, you can just pull it out. Once you push it away, it comes out. As I say that, it's not going to come out, but that's just how it works. You got to finagle a little bit, and we got our second unit out. It's the full assembly. You can see how this works. It's pretty cool, actually, how this works. Just a typical lever. As you adjust the lever, it opens the HVAC vent. So, yep. What you're going to want to do is unbolt the 4 bolts here, here, and here. We're going to go ahead and do that. So one thing that's really important while you're doing this is that when you're undoing these bottom bolts, that you do not drop them down there, because that's what I did. So I've just taken off one of the brackets, so that's going to come off. And then I should be able to remove the head unit. So once you have it out, you can pull it out to this orientation, and then the only thing holding it in are the cables in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unclip the cables, and we're going to take this out. Alright, so we got the piece of junk out. This is the old head unit. You got all the connections in the back. Let's get out the new head unit and see how it fits. Alright, so what I've done is I've put the HVAC back in. You just put the 4 screws back in, and I've put the hazards and the enter button back in. Those just slide right in. I have not put the actual HVAC vents in yet. I'm going to put those in last, and then I'm starting to wire everything up. If you look over in our center console over here, I've run the USBs, so those are going to hook up to the back of the unit, through to the glove compartment. We have 2 of these. That's pretty cool. So those just run together through there. It's nice cable management. And we got 2 power cables. One's for, it looks like for like a Toyota. You only need the one. It's going to be the one that hooks up. We have our HVAC power here, and we've got to hook up the rest. We're coming back for a second day. As you can see, the change of a tire. We ran out a day late on the last day. It's not a long install, we just started super late, so let's get back into it. Alright, so an important part of this install is going to be what cables you're using, where you're going to mount them, cable management, and kind of all of the above. So this cable right here is our navigation GPS. We're going to mount this somewhere convenient on the other side. It has some like 3M adhesive, so we're going to find a convenient place to mount it behind this head unit in the cavity space. So you can mount it wherever you feel convenient. I've seen people mount it to the kind of the circular cylinder pillar frame back there. It's really up to you where you find it convenient. So this is the GPS, right? This is going to be the power. This is going to connect to the only corresponding wire in the center console. We'll look over. That's going to connect right here to this wire. None of these other wires in this kind of wire suite are going to be used. So this, and this, these three wires are not going to be used. It's just the power wire. So if you look back here, then we're also going to have our radio. This is not this one connected to this power suite right here. It is the radio coming from the car, and that's right here. We're not going to be using this pink one either. And that's really it, guys. The rest, the USBs are going to go here, but we're not going to fill any of these spots right now. These are, if we want to add stuff, if we want to hook up the e-brake, the antenna connection, the reverse light, we've got those options. We're not using these. Radio goes in here. The mic is already set up through the car. So we're going to kind of fast forward. We're going to show you a few things as we go through here. We're going to hook all these wires up. We're going to connect them to the car. Then we're going to connect our HVAC down here. And we're going to do, it's going to be somewhat in that order, whatever's convenient for you. There's no particular order, it's just fitting it in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect these in, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to fit the vents, the actual HVAC vents. And one thing that I really wanted to show is this is the issue with the 2015, right? So if you look at these HVAC vents, you've got slots down here for these bottom tabs to go through. But this is designed for the 2016 model. So these tabs and these slots for those tabs are not actually going to fit. So this is actually going to rest above those tabs. So you're actually going to be able to see these two slots. So that's the downside. Otherwise, it fits relatively good. You still retain function. You can still do this. You can still use this as it fits in. And the reason why we're doing this last is because of that fitment, and we have a little bit of freedom to then play around and kind of like set it finally and let, kind of gravity and force hold it in place. So that's going to be the plan. We're going to go ahead and do that. If we see anything worth documenting, we're going to obviously document it, and we'll check in with the next step. Alright, so the unit comes with these mounting brackets and hardware. We can't find a way to use these in a productive way, so we're actually going to leave these out of the install. I don't think they're necessary. Once we have the unit backed up there, that initial mounting bar is going to rest right here, and that's right here. That's going to rest where I was just saying, and the rest is going to clip in with these clips, and we're just going to knock it in, and it should hold itself up by gravity. This is also a much more flush fit on the back with all the wiring, so it's going to rest up against the back of the cavity, so we are not going to use the mounting hardware. Alright, so one thing that we realized that, we forgot which one of these wires goes to the hazards and which one goes to the enter button that allows you to select your front screen. So that you guys know, the gray one goes to the enter button on the bottom, the white one is your hazards. So we've wired everything up, and let's get these plugged in. Alright, so we put the HVAC vents back in. We used the top clips right here as guides. We didn't actually fully clip them in. We used them as guides. We pushed it in, and once you get this kind of snug fit, it holds itself in. It's not going anywhere. The range of motion is still pretty good. With, it still works even though it's a very tight fit. The only downside is you see the slots for the clips before, but they're dark enough that if you're sitting back in your seat, they're kind of hard to see. So we have that on both sides, especially if it would be nighttime, you wouldn't even notice. So you could probably put tape, some type of putty in there to make it kind of look seamless. There are options if you're kind of a neat freak and you want to do that. It doesn't bother me enough to make that change myself. Still functional. I'd say give it a thumbs up. It is for the 2016 plus, but it's worked in this scenario. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start from the bottom, clip in the bottom with the bottom clips, and work our way up and see if it all fits. Alright, so we actually had to move the GPS unit. It didn't fit, the head unit didn't fit in here. So we moved the GPS unit into the glove compartment, and we just followed the USBs into the glove compartment, and then we mounted it on the top of the glove compartment. Alright, so we finally muscled this in, and I use the word muscled, and it's very appropriate here. This is definitely a two-person job if you haven't already figured it out. But you really, I mean, you want to start from the bottom. You want to push the bottom in. You're going to have to kind of hold these in place as you go and work your way up. You're going to want to apply a lot of pressure on these corners. It's going to feel like you're going to break the screen, but you really just want to apply some pressure so they get locked in, and then eventually the top will go in. As you can see, the corners are a little bit warped up. I mean, not warped up, but they don't, they're not as tight. When you're sitting back in the seat, it's hardly noticeable. These, again, they're sitting on top of the bottom brackets. They're hooked up on the top. They are held in really well. They retain function with no issue. Everything works well. So let's get it turned on. Throughout this install, you're going to want to, when you plug things in, you're going to want to turn your car on and make sure that it's working before you actually get it to this point. We were doing that throughout the install. We didn't show that during the process. That's just something that as you get to a good stopping point before you seal everything up, you should be doing. We wanted to kind of leave it as the cinematic. I'm going to turn the car on and you're going to see it start up. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that before I remove this protective coating because, again, you don't want this film on here. Well, you want the film on there if I have to make any changes. Again, because we were really, we were putting this screen surface up against our legs, up against the car as we were doing this. So leave this film on until the last moment, until you know you're doing it. I do also recommend getting some type of alcohol cleaner so you can clean this often because, my fingerprints are already showing up on it, and it is a touchscreen. You're going to be using it quite often. So let's start the car. So there we go. You can see the head unit. Obviously, this is the home screen. Your car is going to say, please check audio system the first time you turn on the car, but every time after that, it shouldn't appear on the screen. It said, please check audio system. So this is the home screen. It's pretty easy navigation. I'm going to do a full review of how to use it, kind of the UI, UX of the system. I hope to add some of the extra features like the TPMS. There's a boost gauge where you can get boost gauges on here. But it's a pretty cool system so far. Obviously Bluetooth music, Bluetooth calling. This is Bluetooth music. Bluetooth calling is right here. You got everything. You have the radio. Radio works. So, and then the big thing with this car, one thing that I'm really impressed of, the sound system is not going to sound better right away. It's going to sound actually probably worse at first until you go to your tuner and you either build a custom tune or you choose one of their pre-programmed tunes. We've already built a custom tune, and this, when you start getting this custom tune, depending on the music you're listening to, that's when it really starts getting better. There's a noticeable difference in the sound, especially in the bass. You get a lot more bass, a lot more control of the treble, and again, you have a lot of control over the sound you're listening to. So already right off one of the bat, before I even get to that special video showing you how to use this and reviewing the UI and kind of the user interface, one of the cool things is we're connected to Gustavo's hotspot. We're going to go to the home, and this is like a shameless plug, but I thought this was super cool. YouTube, it's going to load YouTube using the hotspot. I can then search my channel, go to that. Again, pretty cool thing. I'm playing on YouTube. I can go home. I can filter through the apps that I've recently been in. I can kill the ones that I don't want to see anymore. Definitely a huge upgrade, and it fixes all the problems that I was having with my stock head unit. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We finally got the head unit in. It probably took like 4 hours. I mean, we spent a little more time than we wanted to, just because we wanted to make sure it was safe. We didn't break anything. You probably could do it in less. And again, we had never really done a head unit replacement before, so this was just kind of a new project. We wanted to get familiar with the car. We spent some time just familiarizing ourselves because, we might take this out soon if I upgrade to an STI or something like that. So in the near future, probably a couple days to a week, look for a kind of a user interface user interface review. I'm going to show you how to use the head unit. I'm going to talk about all of its capabilities. It might give you a better idea of like different attributes it has that will influence whether or not you want it, and whether it's worth the money. So look into the near future for that. And then I'm going to be doing like a 3-month review soon, and kind of a was it worth the money review. But other than that, guys, comment below if you have any questions about the install. I'd be happy to answer them. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. Otherwise, thanks for watching.